The exciting part about starting a business is that you get to call the shots. You answer to no one else but you. But that being said, all success and failures are yours as well. And if you want to get more business, it most likely is going to start and end with you too. Well, if you've been struggling with how to go about creating more content to build up your social channels or your email marketing, stay tuned. I'm going to reveal what I use and how I help my clients develop content for an entire month in one day. Okay, before I get started, please subscribe to my channel now and hit that little bell. Look, every week I put out content on this channel to help business owners like you get the most out of your marketing and digital marketing efforts. See, every Tuesday I put up random tips about money, health, and personal development. And on Thursdays, join me on my marketing tips class where I dive into the nuts and bolts of digital marketing. So you're going to need to develop a content on a weekly basis, and it needs to go out day to day. And for a lot of people, that's an overwhelming statement, but I can tell you, you can get it done as long as you have a good blueprint. And that's what I'm going to show you now. All right, so first and foremost, let's give some credit to a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. And I first want to start talking a little bit about who Gary Vaynerchuk is and his content marketing plan that I've adopted here in my own agency. You see, what I've been able to determine after watching his videos and a couple of his blogs is by following this blueprint, see, you're going to be able to provide content on a weekly basis with less effort than you think. Okay, so Gary Vaynerchuk is an entrepreneur from New Jersey, and he basically spearheaded a wine shop that he grew from 3 to 60 million in sales by developing a website back in the 90s that was promoted mostly through YouTube. Gary has created this content model, and it's an amazing Google slide that describes everything in much more detail than what I'm about to describe to you here. The basic premise of content today is that consumers, they're trying to find ways in order to follow a brand or one that they're familiar with and to build trust and loyalty. Brands and personal brands today need more audience, and one of the best ways to do this is through a content marketing plan. And this is how I adopted this for some of my clients. So number one, we want to create pillar content. Now, what I want to explain first is how to develop what's called pillar content. Pillar content can come in various forms. Long form pillar content is going to be mostly in a video format, or it can be in an audio, or it can definitely be in text. Day to day though, you want to be posting content that has to happen through a series of schedules. See, this is how I do this for some of my clients. Okay, so what I do is on day one, I create a pillar piece of content. So for example, I'll create an explainer video and get in front of a camera, much like I'm doing right now, and start talking. So once you develop that pillar piece of content, you want to get it into a time frame where you're comfortable producing this amount of content weekly. So what I like to do recently is batch recording, where I go through my project management software and outline the content I want to record for that day, and then I knock out like 5 to 6 weeks of content in one day, and it can be done. Step number two is I create micro content. So what happens next in the pillar content phase is to create micro content. You see, micro content is what gets published to social channels like Facebook or Instagram. You see a lot of micro content right now that is very popular and really well performing. Today, social sites like Instagram or IGTV and stories through Facebook and YouTube or Instagram, they are on fire. And LinkedIn also has a place for those that are in that B2B space. So this will be things like social images and quotes and things of that nature. Now, on Gary's blog, you're going to see this Google slide embedded in the page. And this Google slide describes in much more detail a complete content model that is based around a pyramid. So what Gary essentially describes is that we should be creating long form pieces of content right at the top. And then in this blog, which is a video blog, or you could maybe do a Q&A show, which is where he takes in callers and he sets up callers to call in and ask questions, etc. So step number 3 is I try to create written text or blogs. So if you create a video, you can have it transcribed into a blog. To do that, just strip the audio out and transpose that into text for your blog. Then you create memes or images or image quotes, stories or mashups to use for your social posts and promote people to read your blogs through these social posts. And these things are very popular in social and help highlight content and send followers to the pillar content. And also, you're going to need a platform, a blogging platform, one that's called Medium, for instance. Medium is a blogging platform to keep track of all your blogs, or you could just create a WordPress website. See, I love Squarespace or WordPress sites in particular. Now, lastly, you need distribution across all social media, and this is where you're really going to want to understand the different platforms out there. See, I think right now, IGTV is a really big player in terms of video content, so is YouTube. And if you're in the B2B space, I really would suggest looking and staying with LinkedIn. Instagram is really huge for images and video. Step number 5 is using Quora for content ideas. Now, not many people have heard of Quora, but basically, Quora, if you go onto that site, you ask questions on the platform and the community provides the answer. So if you want an idea of what to talk about, go into Quora and put your question into the query, into the search query, and it's going to give you a whole bunch of ideas of what you can start creating content around. Number 6, create a whiteboard video instead. So if you feel you're not really good in front of a camera, this is not the thing you want to do, and you may want to create a whiteboard video. You can do things like whiteboard videos like the one I did here, and I have it in my blog. So go to my blog and check that out because I've got a link of a whiteboard video I did with one of my clients. So once you create a pillar content video, you're going to do the same thing and do some video editing, but you'll have to find somebody who's very good at the video software editing. All right, so remember that audio that you stripped out from the video you created earlier? You can use that same audio to upload to a podcasting service to create your podcast. Or you can do what I do sometimes. You can read your text. Yes, I know that sounds a little lame, but it works. See, you might have an audience that prefers to listen to your content and not read it, so why not read it to them? See, what I do sometimes is I use Anchor to do all of my podcasts. So check out that audio from this blog in my blog. You can go to my blog and you'll see the link there. You'll also want to have a way to create social graphics. See, I use both Photoshop and a software called Canva. And Canva is a spin-off from Photoshop, just not as complicated to learn. So don't worry, I mean, this software is not that technical, and if you have an eye for things, you can mess around with the layers and then figure it out and in no time. Or this is one area of your marketing I would highly suggest you can outsource for very cheap. Now, to start, a persona is a fictitious person that is your ideal customer. You're going to want to be able to explain in many facets of this fictitious person so that your content is so well tailored that when your persona reads it, they're going to think that you created that content specifically with them in mind. Well, which you did. So once you have identified what your persona finds important, so you want to eventually have your topics formed around categories. So if someone is going to go to your YouTube or to your blog, you're going to want to have those topics and categories so that people can choose which one they find is more valuable and more interesting to them. So listen, I hope that this was able to bring you value in your journey to building and promoting your business as a CEO or as a director or an executive. A lot of these segments that we have coming up are going to be dealing with these type of issues and these types of challenges that we know every small business owner like you deals with. I hope that I can be that companion and that guide that's going to be able to help you build your business in the future. Okay, so just a quick check on where we're at. Does this make sense to you, or does it have too many steps? Leave me your answers here in the comments below. Give me a 1 if it makes sense, or 10 if it has too many steps. Thanks for watching the video today and getting to the end. Please don't forget about my offer for the entire content marketing guide. I'm going to post it here in my comments, and you can click up here if you want to go to the link straight there and download it today as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget there's more content on the way next Tuesday and Thursday. Please share this to someone you think could use it. Thanks again for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next video. Take care.